Channeling the dragons on the topic of fear. I am here. My name is or Flip for short. I am the predominant personality representing the draconians coming through this channel at this moment. We have shapeshifting in our nature, given ourselves many names. You may visualize me as a black dragon. In my last incarnation, I roamed the Uralian mountains. The Urals might be their name. Anyway, I used to fly across the vast expanses of Eurasia, taking in the sights I wanted, striking down on whatever I wanted, soaring as high as I felt like, transforming myself before my own eyes to my own eternal pleasure. And now the question has been proposed to me. The question, what are my thoughts on fear? Fear is a strange emotion to us reptilians. Not that it is in any way foreign, but we tend to see it as a sort of sustenance. We have in previous channelings commented on the notion of dark energy, the notion that we were harvesting sustenance, life, transformative energy, potential from the dark reaches of what appears to you a sort of nothingness or blank space. And notice this is the quality of fear to the sensory apparatus of the human animal. It's a sort of vacuum that arises within. It is with great wisdom that your spiritual traditions discern between the rule of love and the rule of fear, these two being main opposite forces in a dichotomic view of the universe. If you view human beings as split along these lines, you have the very accurate understanding of love as a sort of infinite multiplication. It is in your Christian Gospels, it is symbolized by miracles of the loaves and fishes. This never-ending bounty of divine love is one force. But we are commenting on fear, and so we only use love to contrast to fear, because fear is the sense of lack. It is a sense of contraction in your physical presence. You sense something as threatening and you contract. And this contraction is maybe may seem to you to present itself with a economic rationale. It may seem like the rational thing to do to guard yourself off, so that you are not expending energy on um, the threats at hand. But notice that fear takes up a quite a lot of energy in these contractions. And as your fear solidifies, it grows into your body, into your tissues. They stiffen and there they become stuck energy, a type of unconscious energy that we have fed off for so long. This is very nourishing to us. It is easy for us to transform energy. Notice that we are as creatures in that sense, not we do not derive heat from our own internal bloodstream, but rather from our immediate environments. And so the reptilian component of the human organism is very pleased with these instances of dark energy because it feeds the, let us say, reptilian drive in human nature. This sort of sense of vacuum makes you reach out for external sources of nourishment, and so you begin to devour first the great animals that were easy for you to catch and slay and kill on this planet. Then you started pastoralism and you learned to cheat your animals into death, and then you survived off of them. Now you've started devouring your ecosystem itself, turning it into something different, also a mechanism for sustenance. And notice the fear-induced way you go about supplying yourself with meat. For those of you who are engaged with eating meat, notice that these animals also contain a great deal of fear in their bloodstream when they are slaughtered. This is not news to you, but for those of you who prefer to eat a lot of meat, notice that this is a way of sustaining yourself that is very akin to the reptilian way of sustaining yourselves. You do enjoy the fear in the animal because this fear, for a moment, replaces the fear inside of you with the fear of the animal, and this negation brings a sense of power. Power is as connected to fear as creation is to love. Power is the opposite of creation. It is the positive of fear. It is the ability to transform these vacuous energies into structures of, let us say, temporary sustainability. Power, in that sense, is a way to organize around a sense of lack, providing the resources in this environment of lack, distributing it to the higher senses of purpose, thereby at one end being able to sustain the metamorphosis of higher instincts, and on the other devouring the life source itself, sustaining the these instincts. It may be difficult for you to understand, but if you approach it in a sense, when we talk about higher instincts, we are talking about pure will. We are not talking about necessarily benevolence, but the ability to exert and change and control. So these three forces, fear, power, will, take heed of them and understand that you can use them to your advantage, but none of them will sustain the hard energy. These forces are getting harder and harder to explain. Now, the channel are asking us to relate this to a more human perspective. So, how can you divert yourself from fear in the perspective that fear is an unpleasant energy for a human being to contain? We would offer you this: sharpen your own fear instead of viewing fear as something attached to an object. Rather, view it as a sense of sensory anxiety. You may see it as something stuck in the surface of your sensory apparatus, the proverbial splinter in the paw of the lion. Although we do not like to give those cats any credit, we will at this point say that the lion um, the lion did well to reward the one who removed this splinter, because fear is a splinter in your sensory apparatus. It holds no reality to it, but it is simply, let us say, the black holes of your perception. Notice how you transpond this sense of fear to your apprehension of the cosmos, and then what you perceive as black holes, which is of course just another of many unknowns in the human cosmos, you perceive with a great deal of fear, theorizing that you will be swallowed up into an eternity of darkness. This is just another version of your hell. So, yes, we would offer you this. Notice that your fear can be weaponized against both itself and other people. We would at this time advise you to use the fear, turn it against itself, for better results on and a more joyous experience of existence for you. Turning the fear on the self, you register where it is located in the body. You will notice there is some sort of tension related to it. This tension may be sensed with a sort of icy, sharp, stinging cold to it. This icy, sharp, stinging cold can then be used to, let us say, in your incise the tension out of your overall imagined body, and then sewing it back together and discarding the part. So consider your fear a type of non-purified metal dispersed in your body that can be was surgically removed and then collected and melted down into a useful object of sorts, either a weapon or a tool, two sides of the same coin, and the coin being the third side of the two. That being said, humans, we will leave you with this advice. I am the Black Dragon Flæxp. I greet you on this day. May you be well and prosper. Power, strength,